Hey everyone, it's Flak. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered does the original justice in many ways. It updates more than just graphics. Developers added some cool new details, like updating the museum bell and, spoiler alert, making sure Ghost gets entirely covered with gasoline so the community will stop trying to claim he's alive. But the remaster also tweaks some details from the original for no real apparent reason. So today, we're going to take a look at 6 relatively pointless changes in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Before we hop onto that, I am running a contest for a Neat Microphones Worker Bee mic, so make sure to get signed up for that in the video description. Alright, first up, let's hit the water in the only easy day was yesterday. This mission sees Task Force 141 infiltrate a Russian-held oil rig and neutralize all of the SAM sites on board. Before you clamber onto its icy decks, however, you have to first approach it using submarine-launched sealed delivery vehicles. In the original game, it's a rather simple sequence, just slipping out of the dry dock and approaching the platform in near darkness. Now the remaster is much more visually impressive, but devs actually added one thing that shouldn't be there: bubbles. It seems like a silly detail until you realize Task Force 141 is using rebreathers, not oxygen tanks, for exactly that reason. Rebreathers are closed-circuit devices, which means they don't produce bubbles like scuba gear, and in covert situations, bubbles can actually reveal your presence, which isn't something you want when you're trying to slip in undetected. So it turns out Modern Warfare 2 got it right the first time. Next, let's head to Rio de Janeiro for Takedown. In the beginning of this particular mission, we're in a car with Soap tracking down Alex the Red's right-hand man. Now, there are quite a few differences between the remastered version and the original here, and quite honestly, most of them are great. The original version includes some tech that makes me feel really old. A CD player and a cassette adapter, like if you actually know what that is, as well as one of those brick cell phones that could probably survive a nuclear blast. You can even see CDs in the visor holder. In the new version, that stuff is all gone, replaced with a simple coffee cup. And while these changes make sense because no one uses that tech anymore, developers for some reason decided to change the dashboard bobblehead. Originally, the bobblehead was a hula dancer, and that's pretty stereotypical as far as dashboard bobbleheads go. But apparently that wasn't Brazilian enough, so they swapped it out for a football player, or soccer if you're American. It's not a change that really adds anything new to the game, unlike being able to see Soap in the rearview mirror in the same scene. Perhaps developers thought the switch would be more appropriate for the location. I really don't know. Tell me your thoughts in the video comments. Number 3 is something that happens during the chase for General Shepard in Endgame. After tailing his boat through gunfire, narrow caves, and rocket barrages, Captain Price lines up Shepard's helicopter as he tries to make good on his escape. In the remastered version, Price fires 2 shots, and on the third, hits the bird with a grenade launcher. In the original, Price simply fires 3 shots with his rifle to down the chopper with precision. That's an interesting change. Perhaps developers thought taking down Shepard's helicopter needed to be a bit more climactic. Maybe it's more rewarding. I'm not sure. But it turns out it's not even the biggest change from that scene. In the original, Soap and Price tumble over the waterfall in the boat. In the remaster, both of them actually jump clear of the boat as it goes over the edge, pencil diving as they hit the water. Now, I actually like this change because it's apparently what you're supposed to do in that situation, though I'm no survival expert. Fourth on the list is a change that's so obscure, most of you probably never noticed it. In the infamous No Russian mission, you might be surprised to know that Yuri, one of Makarov's former associates and a key piece to the events in Modern Warfare 3, actually makes a new appearance in the remastered version of Modern Warfare 2's campaign. In Call of Duty lore, Yuri betrayed Makarov right before the events of No Russian in Modern Warfare 2, and it earned him a bullet. In Modern Warfare 3, we revisit the events right before the infamous mission, and the wounded Yuri actually stumbles into the airport past the metal detectors before collapsing from blood loss. Now, you never actually see Yuri in the original Modern Warfare 2 campaign, but in the remastered version, you could actually find him at the metal detectors if you go back to them after passing the checkpoint at the top of the stairs. I'm sure Yuri's inclusion is something only a fraction of players stumbled upon, but it's still pretty cool, because Infinity Ward probably didn't have the full story of the Modern Warfare trilogy set in stone back when Modern Warfare 2 was made. With a remaster, Yuri's basically been retconned into No Russian because it makes sense from a continuity standpoint. For number 5, this obscure change can be spotted on endgame after Price and Soap get the drop on Shepard in the Sandstorm. In the original version of the game, Price fights Shepard in hand-to-hand combat, eventually getting knocked unconscious, but throughout it all, his trademark boonie hat remains stubbornly on his head. In the remastered version, Price's hat falls off, revealing he's got a bit of a bald spot. Infinity Ward, you didn't have to disrespect my man Price like that. On a side note though, I love that he picks up his hat before checking to see if Soap is still alive. Priorities, right? The same scene also includes another silly change. Soap twirls the knife in his hand differently, and this change actually annoyed me a little bit. Watching it spin before hitting Shepard in the eye was one of the most badass moments of the campaign, and the new version just doesn't hit the same way. Now, before we check out the last pointless detail on this list, here are a couple runner-ups. Runners-up? Whatever. The Burger Town menu in the airport had its prices changed from dollars to rubles. Developers cut part of Meat's lines when warning the civilians in the favela. The cities are different on the arrival and departure boards in No Russian. Captain Price's chains don't randomly disappear in the gulag anymore.
This belongs to you, sir.
You can now actually jump on the trampoline in Wolverines, and developers even updated the picture in the Humvee at the beginning of that mission. So, for our 6th and final pointless change on the list, we're heading back to the favela. In the beginning of Takedown, Roach nabs Alex the Red's right-hand man. In the original version of the game, Ghost threateningly sparks some jumper cables to intimidate the captive, but in the remaster, he's seen brandishing a blowtorch instead. And this is one change that I just cannot wrap my head around. Like, is one form of implied torture better than the other one? It's not really an issue of not having the resources here either, as we actually see Rojas tied up later in the campaign, clearly tortured with jumper cables. So, why the change? Personally, I thought the sparks flying from the jumper cables were way more intimidating than just waving a blowtorch around. So much so, I actually still remember this from the worldwide reveal trailer over 10 years ago when it wasn't even Ghost doing it. And again, these are all but a few of many changes between the two versions of the game. I realize it doesn't really impact the gameplay at all. This is just some interesting stuff that I've noticed during my time with the game. Make sure you tell me in the comments anything you've noticed during your own playtime. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If not, a dislike, and remember to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications on the latest videos. Don't forget to get signed up for that Neat Microphones giveaway if you are looking to upgrade your streaming or content creation setup. And as always, thanks for watching.